Alrighty folks, welcome back to That's Just My Opinion. I am Merlin, and today we have a special double feature of 50 Shades Darker and Darker by E.L. James. So, if any of you have been on this channel for a while, you will know that I did Grey a while ago. And yeah, somehow this has turned into a full series of me going through all of these freaking books and listening to them. Oh boy, okay, so the series that no one demanded of me that I am doing for some reason is, this, where I'm listening to both back to back because apparently I really enjoy torturing myself. So, going to keep this pretty light on the synopsis because this is 50 Shades of Grey. Y'all know this. This has been done to death. I am very late to the party. And why am I doing this to myself? I don't know. Fake internet points. Anyway, so our story picks up like 5 days after the end of book 1. Anna is just starting her new job at this publishing house, being the personal assistant to this guy named Jack Hyde. Very subtle name choice. And, she is in a massive depressive episode after she broke things up with Christian. She's not doing okay, but she's got Jose, her friends, his art show coming up in Portland, and no, she's living in Seattle at this point. In Portland in like a few days, and who comes sweeping back into her life but Christian, offering her a ride to Portland. And now this was like one of the first things that got me with this is that she's like just accepts, like, yeah, sure, I'll take the ride from you. And I'm like, oh honey, no. But the other thing is, he's like, the show's supposed to be, I think, like at 9 o'clock at night or something, like 8 or 9, sometime like that. Christian says he's gonna pick her up at like 6:45, and she doesn't question this. I'm like, okay, so are you just assuming you're taking the helicopter? Because I live in the Pacific Northwest. It's like a 3.5 hour drive, 3.5 hours depending on traffic, to get from Seattle to Portland. I'm like, unless you're planning on showing up way late, you have to assume he's taking a helicopter, but that doesn't even cross her mind. He picks her up, they get in the helicopter. It's awkward. They fly down to Portland and, they go to the show. And of course, there's the big privacy invading blow up pictures of Anna that Jose took and is selling without her permission, which not cool, bro. Christian lets her be there for all of like 10 minutes before he's like, okay, we need to leave. We need to go now. And Anna like gives Jose like an extra long hug just to try to like twist the knife on Christian of course berates her for this, and then they go get dinner. He orders her a steak because this dude has a thing about feeding her, and she's like, well, what if I didn't want a steak? He's like, well, you're getting steak. And I'm just like, oh my god, you overstepping prick. So she does that, they have dinner, and then she's like, all right, so when are we going, so are we taking the copter? No. This manipulative psychopath is now going, oh no, we're going to drive back to Seattle. So he has now locked her in a vehicle with him for at least 3 hours. See, if I was Anna at this point, like, okay, the helicopter ride down is fine because it's like an hour, like 45 minutes. It's pretty short. And this is the point where I'm going, nope, taxi to PDX, please, and I am finding a flight to Seattle, or I am getting myself home. I am not spending 3 hours in a car with this guy. But that's what he does. He's like, you're riding with me, and she's just like, okay. And she gets in the car with him, and they drive back to Seattle and have the, like, I want you back, but you beat me. And it's just like him going like, well, I want to change for you. And she's just like, I don't think I'm good enough for you, which is the one thing that she constantly is like, I'm not enough for you in this book. And I'm just like, honey, have a little self-respect. Maybe he needs to be good enough for you. So we get them back to Seattle. Oh, that's the other thing in this is like Christian's talking about how much weight she's lost. And it's been like 5 days. And like she's talking about like how she like hasn't eaten in like 5 days, and I'm just like, hun, you need to go see a doctor. Like that's serious. If people are like, oh, you've lost a lot of weight in like 5 days, like that's concerning. Anyway, they get back to Seattle. They agree that they're gonna try doing like a vanilla relationship, just normal relationship, as normal as Christian can be. So she starts going to her job, and yada yada, things go on. There's so much just between the arguing and the sex in this that it all kind of runs together after a while, that it's just like I got to the point where I would rather listen to them fight than listen to the sex scenes, because it was just like, oh my god, can you stop, please? So anyway, the next big thing that happens in the book is her boss going full psycho and like tries to assault her, and Christian comes in and saves the day after he's like Christian has been cryptically warning Anna of, you need to stay away from him. No, he's dangerous, but I'm not going to tell you why, even though I have this guy's HR file, which is the other creepy thing Christian does in this. He buys her company, the company she's working for. Oh my god. And oh yeah, before the psycho boss tries to assault her, she and Christian keep sending each other emails over the company servers. There's so many times where Christian's like, use your personal email, and Anna's like, oh, it's fine, I'm just gonna keep sending these flirty and totally inappropriate work emails over my work email. And it comes back around and bites her, and I'm just like, you dum-dum. One, she like hardly ever seems to be doing her job, and like when she's there, she's just sending flirty-ish emails to Christian the whole time on the company servers. I'm like, you dum-dum, don't do that. And of course that's what Jack uses as ammunition against her, of like, I've got these emails between you and Christian Grey, and he thinks she's like a corporate spy at first. And yeah, that end up Christian saves the day, and Jack disappears for the remainder of the book. Whoop diddly do. Okay, let's see. There's the masquerade ball. There's some drama with Elena, because of course there's drama with Elena, aka Mrs. Robinson, aka the woman who seduced and abused Christian at age 15. So yeah, she's awful. Let's see. Oh yeah, the next really big thing that happens is the psycho ex-sub, Layla, I think is her name, that she shows up and tries to shoot Anna, and Christian just goes full dom on her, and Anna has like a crisis of like, I will never be that for him, but that gets resolved, and Christian asks her to marry him, and she's like, I need a minute to think about this, but he's like, answer me now, and she's like, I need a minute. She also wants to go talk to his therapist. So they go and talk to the therapist, and Christian's just like being like a hulking like in the corner during the whole conversation, and the therapist is like, Anna, would you like Christian to leave? And she's like, So Christian leaves and then interrogates her in the car afterwards, like, what did he tell you? What did he say? It's like, dude, you gave her full reign to ask any questions. Like, you don't get to pull the rage monster afterwards when you said, all right, all of my dirty laundry is free for you to talk to my shrink with, and then be angry when she took advantage of that situation and asked all of her questions, which gets into some really bad, oh, you're totally fixing him stuff, that the shrink is like, oh, Anna, you've made more progress with him in like 6 weeks than I have in 2 years. And 6 weeks, I'm being overly generous with how long these two have been together. And it's just like, what? And it's like, no, therapy is good. I hate the love of a right person trope is going to fix you. Love and support is very important, but seeking out, actual psychiatric help is also good. Christian, work on yourself, man. Anyway, sorry, rant. So, and after this jackoff takes her out into the middle of nowhere off the Puget Sound to this big old house, and is like, I bought it. And she's like, what? And he's like, oh yeah, I bought this, and I'm planning on knocking it down and building a new home for us. And she's like, but I kinda like the old house. And he's like, what? Why don't you want a new, super modern, eco-friendly? She's like, well, couldn't you just try to retrofit the old house? And he's like, I guess. So yeah, now this dude is not only throwing the proposal at her Now he's throwing a house at her of like, I've bought our future home together, and this whole time the girl is just like, please, I just need some time to think. I just need some time to think. And he's not giving her any of that. Okay, so he does that. They go to, there's the masquerade ball, which is, oh yeah, you find out a little bit more about his birth mom, but, oh yeah, the big hurrah at the end is that Christian's helicopter crashes near Mount St. Helens, and there's a few hours where everyone thinks he's dead or mangled or something, but then he strolls into his apartment like, sup, what these people that love and care about me are in my apartment, huh? And end of the book is a happily ever after of Christian proposing, Elena getting smacked down by Mommy Gray, and that part was a little satisfying, but I don't think dramatic enough. Christian proposes to Anna, Anna accepts, hooray, dark, sinister figure in the background, plotting his revenge. So that was basically the story from Anna's perspective. And you get, in Darker, the exact same story from Christian's perspective. I mean, there are a few things that are kind of interesting, because again, you're riding around in his brain, so you get to hear the justifications for why he's doing some of these things, and some of the stuff that I think his mental is a lot more reflexive of James going back and like people critiquing stuff, so she's using these books as like no, in his head, see, he's not as bad of a guy, but he's still a bad guy. I mean, the two scenes that I kind of wanted, that I was really excited to hear from Christian's perspective, was one, like the helicopter crash, and two is the confrontation with his mom after mom overhears everything with Elena and finds out the truth. So yeah, both of those are kind of a letdown. I mean, the Christian helicopter crash part is sad because like you get it, like when he shows up into his apartment, he is genuinely surprised that his family is there, that they actually gave a damn that he had gone missing and was basically presumed dead. Like, that genuinely shocked him, and I was like, wow, that is really sad that this guy just genuinely doesn't think anybody cares about him at all. And then the confrontation with Elena, I was really excited for that scene because it's a scene where Anna leaves and Grace, Christian's mom, and him talk alone for a minute, and I was like, oh, is this gonna be something really deep? You know, I was like excited. This could be such an emotional and amazing scene. It was a letdown. I was like, really? That was a letdown. I was really disappointed by that. Well, what should I expect? So yeah, it's so not good. Also, from a creative standpoint, I feel like a writer, this would be torture to write. I mean, it's an easy cash grab, okay, I know that. But like writing Darker is basically taking your manuscript for 50 Shades Darker, like Control F, he, switch those all to I, Control F, I, switch those to she. I mean, it's all the exact same conversations, word for word. You've just changed the perspective, and there's a few additional little scenes here and there, but it's not good. I mean, it was something I was thinking about with listening to this book, that if this book if Darker, like say with 50 Shades Darker and with Grey and 50 Shades of Grey, if these had been written side by side, like if this had been an intercut story, like switching perspective, I think it would have made Christian less of a bastard. But because this was all written after the fact, after all of the backlash came out towards this, everything that she does to make Christian seem like a better person, I don't know if I can read that as Christian actually being a better person, or is this James just retroactively being like, no, you just didn't see that he was actually a better person. Oh, yeah, it's so bad. And I also, with Christian's damage, James so wants to have her cake and eat it too with it, because she's like, oh, you know, he's got all these mommy issues and his like damage, but at the same time he was adopted by the Greys by age 4, has been in therapy basically since then, and still has all of these damages. And he talks like, oh, I don't have like a loving family. I'm like, dude, the Greys, what the hell is your malfunction? You have a very loving family right there, but he acts like he's been alone his entire life. And there is the potential for something interesting in here with him having like a sort of imposter syndrome of being brought into this perfect family. But you know how I think you need to fix that? Christian needs to be older when he's adopted by the Greys, like 10 or something like that, something where a lot of this trauma could have really sunk in. And again, I am not a child psychologist. I don't understand how extremely young trauma affects a person. I do not. I'm not claiming to know that. I am just saying from a writing perspective, it feels like James is trying to have her cake and eat it too with his damage. And it's like, oh, it's so frustrating because there could be something really compelling in this. There could be some really great personal drama, and all of it is just bad kind of kinky sex. Oh god, it's just there's the potential. I think that's what kills me most about this, is there is the potential for some really good drama in this, and it just falls flat. It crashes and burns. So yeah, 50 Shades Darker and Darker get like a 1 out of 5. It's bad. It's bad. I don't know when I will be getting to 50 Shades Freed. And Freed, I think Freed actually hasn't been published yet. It's coming out soon. So whenever that comes out, I will eventually be doing it. But I need like a 6-month break after listening to that, as you can tell. So yeah, if you haven't read Darker, don't. You're not missing anything. I can't recommend it even as trashy fun. But hey, that's just my opinion, and if you disagree with me, that's totally cool. And if there's anything you'd like to see me take a crack at in particular in the future, leave your comments down below, and I will talk to you guys in a little while.